What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Who's down? What's up and who's down?
What's up and who's down?
I tried. Didn't work.
Well, that's where we're at now. We're going to get into a topic.
I'm sorry. I'm here in the studio and shit just gets weird. You know what? I brought myself. I don't bring the content, I'm just here. I'm here. I'm doing it. What are we talking about today, Mike?
Your confidence is astounding.
Thank you. It's the beer.
So
I poured a little whiskey in here.
Oh, perfect.
Have you ever tried that?
No, that's
Boilermaker.
Boilermaker. There you go.
Yeah. I had a bottle of Southern Comfort, which tastes like cough medicine shit.
Honestly, I don't think Southern Comfort's the one to go with.
I don't like it.
It's supposed to be whiskey.
So I have this bottle of Southern Comfort. It's 40%, but it tastes like syrup, and I do not like it. But what I do is I take a shot of it and I pour it into like a domestic beer, and I like it.
Okay. I don't think I've actually drank a Boilermaker. I've chugged one.
I think you're supposed a Boilermaker, for those of you listening, is a beer and a shot. I think you can. Is it whiskey?
Whiskey and light beer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think you can just shoot it and then chase it with the beer, or are you supposed to pour it in? You're the bartender.
My understanding is you either pour it in directly, you just put it right in and you sip it, or if you're an animal, you
shoot and drink.
You like a Jaeger bomb, you drop the shot in it and chug it.
Wow. Yeah,
that's my understanding.
Gotcha. It was funny. We had mentioned that before. I'd said Boilermaker, and apparently it's an old term. That
Boilermaker.
Boilermaker. I thought it was broiler. Boilermaker. Anyway, but I had said if someone went up to the bar and ordered a Boilermaker, what would you serve? That's what it is. I was like, what would you give them?
It's Boilermaker.
It's Boilermaker. Okay, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I would ask what kind of beer, and then I would probably give them a shot of well whiskey, like just the house whiskey.
Oh, okay. Which is usually what?
It's whatever's cheap. I think ours is Zachariah Harris.
Oh, okay.
Zachary Harris, not Zachariah.
Is that as good as Evan Williams?
Sometimes it's Evan Williams, actually. The random Southern name is what it is.
I was buying whiskey the other day, shocker, and I grabbed a bottle. What was it? It's an Irish whiskey, 12 spirit.
Proper 12?
Proper 12. It's the one I saw it and I read the label. I'm like, oh, okay, what is that? Co-owned by Conor McGregor.
Proper 12.
I put that shit back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I grabbed Aviation Gin because it was of the co-owner of Ryan Reynolds. But I saw Conor McGregor. I'm like, oh, get the fuck out of here. And I put it back.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for Aviation because I don't drink gin, but I've drank Proper 12 and it's not bad, but Jameson's just as good, if not better. Bushmills just as good, not better.
I got this Morning Dew, Honeydew, Dew something, Morning Dew something.
Irish whiskey, right?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of
it's pretty good
the name of it. Yeah, but my point is, Conor McGregor's already a douchebag. His whiskey isn't prestigious. It's not like if the whiskey was super good.
Sure, yeah.
But it's nothing special. So
yeah. I do love gin, and I do like Aviation Gin. I don't find enough a palate to tell the difference yet, but it all tastes the same. Sure. I like Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to get Aviation. So
there you go.
Welcome to Fake Philosophy.
Again, welcome to Fake Philosophers. Speaking of, if the bottle's worth it.
Oh,
segue.
Nice. It's like those things.
Yes, those things
that you.
Off camera today. I ranted to Mitch about...
I knocked on the door and Mike answered the door hot. He was hot.
Yes. I won't go into the details, but pretty much my pool guy is a very nice man. He's clueless and
about certain things.
Like he can clean a pool.
I hope so.
But no, so quick context backstory. So
quick.
A lady and I bought our house about a year and a half ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. And from the moment we got it, the pool had issues. And so it seems like every other month we're fixing something. We had to redo piping. We had to convert it to salt water. We wanted to convert it to salt water anyway, but there was an issue. So we just said, fuck it, and got that. And then pretty much the power went out in the house. When it turned back on, something happened in one of the power boards in the equipment. So that had to be replaced. Granted, the warranty covered it, but still. And then recently the heater wasn't working. So we spent the money to just get a new heater because our insurance wouldn't cover it because of bullshit insurance reasons. And so the heater works, everything works, but the jets were still not working. And so I text him because I text him the problem, and he will get his sub guy to install shit. And I text him saying like the jets aren't working. Heater's working fine, but the jets aren't working. And he pretty much set it up with like, okay, the guy is gonna meet with you this week at this time, etc.
I've heard all this.
Tell me something new. No,
it's riveting.
And so I was like, fine. And one, he gave me the wrong time, so I took time off, pretty much got off work early to come home.
Rough.
And I'm not going to go into the details, but like I skipped out on a few other things to make sure I was here on time. And the guy wasn't here. And pretty much I found out like the pool guy gave me the wrong time. He typoed it in the text. Anyway, guy shows up and pretty much tells me that there's a huge electrical problem with all our equipment and that he's been telling our pool guy this for months about how there's tons of electrical that needs to be fixed before he can do anything to fix the jets.
Yeah.
And he's been saying this apparently for months and months and months to our pool guy. And even he said politely, like, he's like, I'm not going to say the guy's name. I don't think he understands when I tell him this.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what he's relayed to you. And I was like,
yeah, okay.
I was like, yeah, he's not said any of this to me about this electrical shit. He said this and this, but he has not said this. And he's like, yeah, I've been telling him for months. And I was like, well, fuck. And then I made a joke to Mitch. And I was like, but the guy's cheap.
Yeah.
Affordable. And then Mitch said, you get what you pay for.
We said almost at the same time. You were like walking down the hall when you said it. And I was like, yeah, you do get what you pay for. And then we were like, hey, we have a topic for today.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and thinking of that, I think it applies for the most part. I think we've talked about, I think it was the three things, quality, speed, and price.
Oh, yeah. With McDonald's, we were talking about that.
Or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So of those three things, you can get two, but not all three.
Right. Okay.
And I'm reiterating what I said before, but it's like you can get something cheap and fast, but the quality's not going to be good.
Right. Yeah.
You can get some good quality and fast, but it's not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
And
or
then
quality and cheap, but it's going to take a while.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is absolutely true. My dad, we do standby generators, and one thing we don't do so much anymore, because we do pride ourselves on being probably the lowest rates of any of our competitors, because we have super low overhead. It's just a family, it's the three of us, so we can keep the overhead really low, and we charge a little bit less, and we do have a great product where we have really good quality. Why we don't do installs, and this was supposed to be a whole rant, the generator install industry.
Sure.
Because I'll fucking get into it. But because I know you guys want to know.
They've been asking
about what's my input on the generator installs. But I tell people we just don't do it anymore because my dad handles the installs. Super good quality, really good price, fucking forever to get them done.
Yeah.
Forever.
Okay.
Because he's a perfectionist. And it's like this little bend here, this, I rethought this and rethought that. He's the worst contractor ever because he'll like write out a contract and he'll be like, I say worst contractor in that all contractors are usually money grubbing, guys do the job, get it done. My dad is like the opposite of that. He'll do the job perfectly. And if you want to pay him, that's cool.
If you want to give me some soup and beer, I'll be on my way.
Fine. So yeah, but you do get what you pay for most respect. So we started thinking, what are some other examples of that? What are some examples where it's not the case? So,
example where it is the case. Because I've seen it go both ways. I think I'm correct to assume you don't have any tattoos.
I do not. No.
I also do not have tattoos.
Okay.
I'm not against it. I'll probably get one day.
Agreed.
But when someone says I have a tattoo guy who'll do you super cheap,
oh shit!
Immediately I'm like,
no. Don't fuck with your body.
When the time comes and I get a tattoo,
oh my god,
I'm going top shelf.
I'm going to the Yelp reviews and looking at all the negative reviews.
I don't like Yelp, but yeah.
Yeah.
Or I know a few people who do it, and I'll just ask them. Like, I'm not even looking for a discount.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like I said, bar analogy. I'm going top shelf.
Oh,
if
okay,
I'm getting a tattoo, I will pay extra to make sure that it's good.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than getting something on your body that's dog shit.
I love that tattoo. I think it was done on purpose, but it was pitched as a meme like it was done on accident, but someone got the tattoo of no regrets. But
that was in the movie.
But regrets was spelled wrong. It was RGRAT.
That was
or something.
What was the movie with what's his name? Jason Sudeikis?
Maybe. Yeah, just Sudeikis.
And the fucking bitch who played Rachel in Friends?
Whoa, Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Road trip.
No.
Vacation.
Fuck. They actually went on a road trip.
Vacation. The movie's Vacation. With
No.
In it.
No. It was where like he has to pretend that they're a family. It's like called like The Last Names, like whatever the last name's supposed to be.
I don't know it.
Anyway, there's some. I think it's that movie where a guy, or maybe it was fake. It's a movie.
Doesn't matter.
It's in a movie.
I thought that was hilarious though, to get no regrets but spelled wrong as a tattoo.
Yeah.
I would get that tattoo. That's pretty amazing.
Well, that's if you and it looks good and it's funny.
Yeah.
Fine.
But side note, what tattoos would you get?
There's been a few ideas I've had. One which is very silly, is I've been told by tattoo people it would really be painful, is putting, and there's context to it.
Go for it.
Is putting pew 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 on my pointer finger.
Pew, pew.
Like pew pew pew.
When you point at people?
Yeah, because a friend of ours who passed would make that noise a lot when we played video games.
Oh, cool.
So it would look silly.
Yeah.
But it would be like a joke to
Nice.
homage to him.
Homage, nice.
And then I couldn't think of where to put it, but I also had this image of like a wolf howling at the moon, like with the moon behind him, the wolf.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't know where to put it to where it would look cool.
Like a silhouette kind of.
Yeah,
line
exactly.
kind of thing?
The
That'd be
moon,
cool.
and there's a silhouette of the wolf.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
I'm thinking of Dwight from The Office. I'm sorry.
the shirt. The howl, which makes them think of sex.
Yeah, I would have gotten a tattoo if I were in the military.
Sure.
When I did Muay Thai, I decided that if I got into the fight team and I wanted to make a career of fighting, I would get, because in Muay Thai they use armbands instead of belts. I would have gotten a silhouette of the armband on my arm. That would have been like,
Okay, that would be cool.
Yeah, but they'd be meaningful. That, or if I ever went to Thailand and they do the old school like iron rod, tattoo things. Have you seen those?
Oh,
Those,
yeah.
giant things.
I have.
That the monks will tattoo blessings on the fighters in Thailand, and I thought that was the coolest
That's
shit
kinda cool.
ever. I'd like get a very small one, but yeah, get that and deal with the hepatitis
I'd
later
say the least painful one.
and all the hepatitis.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, so I do want a tattoo. I just don't know what I'd want. But anyway,
Yeah.
but
Tattoos,
when it comes to tattoos,
quality, you
though,
do get what you pay for.
Yes, because I've seen some shit ones.
Yeah,
in person.
We were saying, like, because Mike was complaining about the pool guy. Obviously, I touched on contractors and other service industries. Most of the time, you do get what you pay for.
Yes.
When it comes to, like I was going to say, with generator installs, I can't tell you how many customers I have that the customer had a cousin that was a contractor or knew somebody so they can get a better deal. And guess what? It was a bad job and it was done terribly. You do get what you pay. If you want a lesser price, you're going to get shittier quality.
Oh yeah, I remember my folks. This is some time ago, probably not a decade ago, but it was some time ago. My folks wanted to renovate their kitchen.
Yeah.
They talked about it for years,
Yeah.
and so they had a few people come out and give them quotes. And this one guy who a family friend recommended him came out and gave a quote, and it was like the lowest rate.
Oof.
And he said he would have it done in like 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
And they're like, cool. And they agreed to it. And this guy might as well be a fucking con artist.
No, really?
Because he pretty much, and a lot of contractors do this, they subcontract, it's fine. But it was probably, I don't want to exaggerate, I'm trying to remember, 3 to 5 months into it for a 2 to 3 week, what he said was a 2 to 3 week job. Like at least, I want to exaggerate, but let's say conservatively 2 to 3 months into it.
Woof.
And they were like, dude, our kitchen's torn up. We've been eating fast food every day.
Wait, was this semi-recent? I think I kind of remember this. Was I around at this time?
I knew you. This was...
I might be thinking of your neighbors that were doing construction
the neighbors
for like 10 years.
Yeah, that's like 4 years. This was like 2016 or so. No, it had to be before the 16. It was 2015, 16 maybe.
Yeah, then probably. Anyway.
And it was just a fucking mess. And they kept telling me, like, what the fuck's going on? And like some of the subcontractors that came in said, like, hey, he hasn't even paid us yet, so we're not going to finish. And they're like, wait, what the fuck? No, like what? And so it was this whole mess. And he kept playing like I'm so sorry, we're going to make it right.
Yeah.
We're family friends. We know the same people. Like and it just dragged on and on and on. And finally they're just like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And even the people who recommended him, like they showed him, like he was discredited like from the Better Business Bureau, but it was a family friend. So they thought like this guy, like, but, and he was just horrible. And even the people who recommended him, like apologized and felt horrible about it. And so then like someone, my brother-in-law knew who was good, came in, and he was just like, this guy's trash. Like, he was like redoing the wood floors, and he's like, this guy's fucking awful. and like he was taking photos, like, what the fuck? And he had it done in like 2 weeks.
Oh dear.
But lower rate.
You learned.
And yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever see? I'm not super into the bar scene. I didn't go to very many bars, but I did go to like 2 or 3 in the area where your bar is.
Mm-hmm.
Your bar being one, and I went to the other couple of the other local ones. There are like other. Because I mentioned this years ago. I don't know if you remember, but I'd mentioned going to a competitor bar, if you even say competitor, but another bar in the area, in the same city even, and saying, oh yeah, like, yeah, we went there, they were doing karaoke. The beer was actually like pretty cheap. And the bartender was actually like pouring drinks for some people or whatever. And you kind of hung your head and kind of like, you weren't like mad, but you're like, I don't know how they stay in business. They don't charge for their beers and whatnot, but
I know what you're talking. It took me. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because the bartenders there are hustlers.
Oh, okay.
So any bartender with their head on their shoulders, or server, any tip job where tips are a huge part of it.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to get as much product out,
yeah,
you're fucking stupid, because that just means more tips.
Oh yeah.
That's why I've never understood bartenders or servers that don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you want? Because the more drinks you put out, you literally make more tips. I've never understood it. Anyway, that's a tangent. That place in particular, because I think it's changed since then, but at the time, their drinks were very cheap.
Yeah. This other bar.
To where, like, I know the cost of a bottle of Jameson, just as an example. So I know.
Yeah, because you knew product firsthand.
So I know their profit margin. More so beer, liquor, I do know prices, but like beer, I definitely know prices. And I was just kind of like, fuck, because like their volume, I think, I'm not going to put I'm going to make up numbers.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
So we've talked about it before. The day before Thanksgiving is, generally speaking, the busiest night of the year.
Right. More than St. Patrick's Day.
Which
I call bullshit on. But that's later. That's
generally speaking, yeah. So again, I'm going to make up numbers now. Completely fictional. I think it was the day after Thanksgiving. I went in there with Danny, actually. And the bartender, I'm kind of chummy with her. And I was talking to her, and I was like, hey, so how was the day before Thanksgiving? And she's like, we were fucking slammed.
Woof. And
I was like, yeah, same. So when I was bartending, I was like, same. And I was like, do you mind me asking what your sales were for the day? And again, this is fictional numbers.
Yeah.
She said 500. Again, that's incredibly low. I'm making numbers up. And I was like, oh shit, okay, yeah, it's crazy. And she walked away, and then I was like, fuck. And Danny was like, what? And I was like, dude, we did 5,000.
Whoa.
Again, so fictional.
10 times whatever.
Something like that. The number, it was way more. And I was like,
how did they?
And so we own the property that we have. Granted, there's a mortgage on everything, but like, and they rent because they're in that business center.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't understand.
Wow.
With their prices, and I know like their volume.
Yeah. Okay.
How they walk away on the busiest night of the year.
Do you think they're doing stuff on the side?
Well, I know their I'm gonna sound like an asshole if they ever listen, but like the bartenders were very liberal in you had 3 beers, 4th one's there you go.
Oh, okay.
Like, and they overpoured a lot still, but just knowing that and their prices in my head, I was like, how?
Yeah. But I guess to get back to get what you pay for is like, you see that in bars sometimes, maybe you see it more, but like based on, microbreweries. If the prices of microbreweries tend to be a little bit higher, you get a little bit better.
The beer is better.
The beer is better. The atmosphere is better. You know, you do pay for it. Like Claremont Craft, for example. I don't know. Well, I guess compared to like Hamilton Brew or Rock House or something, you know, Claremont Craft is like pretty big and they're in all the stores and all that compared to like, you know, No Clue Brew or something like that. But so I could see how Claremont can justify a little bit of a higher price because they are not only just, I guess I wouldn't say better beer, but more popular beer. What do you know? What do you think?
I would say they're more well known.
Yeah, more popular.
Granted, they all make good beer. I want to make sure that's clear.
Said the bar.
But
it is all good beer. I do.
But going real quick, I want to go back to the bar we were talking about.
Yeah, that other.
So
bar.
One thing to talk about that, and this is not going on a rant about sales, but you get what you pay for. I remember I pointed this out to somebody. So at my bar, I'm not ever going to say we're perfect. No place is perfect. Not place everyone, but we do try to improve where we can.
Yeah.
These bar stools are old. They're shitty. Let's get some.
You guys upgraded your bathroom. That was the coolest thing.
The bathroom,
the coolest thing.
Perfect example, actually, from what I'm going to get to. But like, we do even if it's small things, we do try to like, how can we make it better?
Yeah.
So the bar we were talking about. So I was a regular there for maybe like 2 or 3 years. Where
okay.
I was going there a lot.
Nice.
And I remember, and granted, I don't feel bad saying this because if the bartenders that work there, I'm friends with them on Facebook, etc. If they heard this, they'd probably laugh because they know it's true. And I maybe said this on air before. So in their men's room, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's urinal, small stall, big handicap stall.
Yeah.
So for the 2 to 3 years I went there, the handicap stall did not have a door on it.
Ooh, eesh. Okay.
I'm not sure if you remember that, but it didn't have a door on it. Granted, I don't think people are going there to take a shit because it's not like they're serving food or anything. It's not like you're going to want to take a shit there anyway because it's just the bathrooms were not well kept up. But so for the 2 to 3 years I went there was not a door on the men's room handicap stall. I can't speak about the women's room. I remember thinking like, okay, I'm getting what I'm paying for. These beers are cheap.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting hooked up.
Yeah.
And the facilities are not being taken care of.
That's what I'm saying. So
So that's what I'm saying. Like you're not getting you are getting what you're paying for
Yeah.
because the facilities are not being kept up.
Also, do you think the fact that your bar has like a full eatery, like that might affect as well?
Yeah, I think so. I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're also getting food, chances are the drinks are going to probably be a little more, not crazy expensive, but a little more pricey.
Bit,
yeah.
You got more building to pay for. We can get back to other examples of that, but do you know of any examples where you don't get what you pay for?
You mean no matter what price you're paying, you're getting the same thing?
Or just maybe because it's expensive doesn't necessarily mean that's the best product.
Okay, perfect. Because I thought about this earlier. Well, kind of the same topic. Steakhouses.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind paying top shelf, if you will, if the steak is fucking.
For those listeners, Mike cracked a little smirk right before he said that. Man,
Yeah, but I don't mind paying top shelf if the steak is the shit.
Yeah.
Like if it's
Kobe, like
tits.
corn-fed.
Not even Kobe, just cooked perfectly. Like it, I don't mind it. And I think the most expensive steak I've ever had, I didn't pay for it, was like $90 a la carte.
Shite.
A la carte.
Yeah.
But it was like fucking. If you're not watching, like probably a good 8 inches, 9 inches long, and like an inch or two thick.
Nice.
So it was a solid piece, cooked perfectly, melted in your mouth. It was fucking amazing. I would have paid $90.
Fucking hungry right now.
Right, same. But then like I'm gonna trash a company right now. But then you go to like Fleming's,
Ruth's Chris.
kind of the same. To where like you'll spend $40 or $50 on a steak or more.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a while, and the steak is like a glamorized medallion.
Oh yeah.
And it's like small.
Yeah.
And it might be cooked well and it might taste good, but it's like small, and it's like, was that worth $50?
Sure. Yeah, Ruth. I'll take it back about Ruth's Chris. I do love Ruth's.
I think Ruth's Chris is different. Fleming's is the one that I wanted to pick.
I've never been to Fleming's. I don't go to very many steakhouses, so I don't.
Most of the steakhouses I've gone to, and this is not me bragging, but most of the steakhouses I've gone to are like the locally nice place.
Yeah. Okay.
Because then it's like
Cask and Cleaver.
Sure. But like Fleming's is a chain.
Okay.
Like if you're a steakhouse bragging about your happy hour, I kind of I question your steaks. And I'm not saying
fair.
Fleming's is bad. I'm just saying they're
fair.
probably overpriced.
Yeah.
But I think steakhouses are a good thing because a lot of steakhouses will charge high prices and the steaks are not good. And keeping it into restaurants, a lot of restaurants have done this. I could say our place has not. We've actually avoided this. A lot of places will start off with great food, great prices, and then as more people come in and costs become complicated, they'll lower the quality of the food.
Oh, interesting.
Because like almost to my knowledge, like let's say steak, beef, from the food distributor, you could buy like the cheap stuff, the medium stuff, and the good stuff.
Yeah,
choice. So you might start at the good stuff, but then when costs become complicated, even if you're busy,
slacking
you
off.
slowly bring it down to the medium stuff, but then still charge the same price.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, no, you're not getting what you're paying for.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other
doesn't
steakhouses I've been to, but
I would say it's much more rare to not get what you're paying for
rare
than it is.
Have you ever? Side note: have you ever? Do you have a sous vide? You ever sous vide
No.
your own
No.
steak? I've had it cooked for me, and it blows my mind. I'm like,
heard it's really good.
I'm never paying for a high price because apparently that's how steakhouses do it. You know, you order a cut at a certain cut. They have it not pre-made, but it's all sitting in the bath. You know, already cooked. So when you order it, all they do is like flame it.
Maybe sear it.
Yeah, sear it and then serve it up.
If it works,
Good stuff. Because I ordered a medium rare steak at Ruth's Chris, and 5 minutes later they came out with a perfectly medium rare steak. And I'm like, bullshit! What the hell? Now I knew ahead of time. I was like, oh, that's how they do it. They sous vide it, and it's ready to go.
Interesting.
And yeah, so
I mean, it's a killer model.
it's brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant. I mean, granted, it's bigger than the one I have, but whatever.
I thought of getting a sous vide. I just never pulled the trigger on it.
Another example, well, we have an Instant Pot. Instant Pot can be a sous vide. It sets
Okay.
set at a temperature, and it's So I know someone's listening. It's like, it's not the same fucking thing. Go fuck yourself. I don't know. Buy me one and then prove me wrong.
And then we'll talk about it.
Another example where you don't get what you pay for. I was going to say electronics, computer parts. Beats by Dre. You don't get what you pay for. I mean,
I would agree that anything that has perfect example is
proper 12.
proper 12, and another example is fucking the Jordan logo. I'm just gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Because you could have a pair of basketball shorts cost $10-15, whatever the fuck they go for.
You get the shorts though.
But then you throw the Jordan logo on it, and those are $90 shorts.
Yeah.
Like
My one of my best friends, this is a big tech guy. When I first wanted to start building my own custom PC, before that I wanted to get an Alienware because that was the thing.
That was
the
thing,
Alienware PC,
Yeah.
and it still
Yeah.
is. It's still the
Yeah.
standard as far as off the shelf gaming PCs. It's Alienware, and I went to my friend like, yeah, I'm saving up for an Alienware, and being a guy in the industry. He just kind of like he majored in microcircuitry engineering, so he's gonna like he knows.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't get it because you're paying like 3 times more than what you could just build on your own. So and that's when I kind of noticed a trend. Electronics, it's rare. There are some brands that you do get what you pay for, like Sony,
Sure.
Bose. You do get what you pay for. Some of those like rare little name brands, but for the most part, it's just popularity. I think.
And it's the always going to the bar metaphor. It's Grey Goose.
Grey, yeah. Grey Goose, this is pretty good beer. I mean, Grey vodka.
Goose is not a bad vodka, but it's way overpriced.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere you go.
Really? Okay.
Anywhere you go. As far as quality is concerned.
Is there other liquors that I should know? There's just like
Can you name some?
real quick.
Goose is the one I always use as an example. Because it's just I'm not a vodka drinker, but my understanding is that it's I haven't seen concrete proof, but everyone says if you go to Costco and get the Kirkland brand vodka, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
I've
the
heard that
story.
too. The Costco Kirkland vodka.
But
because apparently it's made by the same distillery or something.
Yeah,
but-
so I can't confirm that. I just don't know. But from what I've been told, like vodka drinkers are like you spend more money on Grey Goose and it's not worth it.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. I get that with honestly Jack Daniels. I've had Jack Daniels is like the standard, right? The sour mash Jack Daniels. And I'm like, yeah, I've had better whiskeys that cost cheaper. I don't know. That's just me though.
You're right, but I don't think Jack Daniels is overly expensive. So I'd say
That's
you're
true.
getting
I
what
guess
you're
that's
paying
true.
for.
It's like what, $20 bottle. So it's
Something like that. One thing
Jim Beam is like $10 and delicious.
It's the same shit. One thing, and I, as a beer enthusiast, I don't like saying this, but I've been to like craft breweries, and like if you know me, I'm all about like the craft breweries support the little guys, but nothing's worse.
You've established that in this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But nothing's worse than going to like a small time craft brewery where you're spending like $7 or $8 a pint.
Yeah.
And they just don't make good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or it's like,
because you see like the couple that's like fresh out of like, they're just quit their jobs and they're going for it, doing their microbrewery. And it's like, oh dear.
I would say it's very rare because most people who start a craft beer have like a history of like doing home brewing and etc. But like there are the rare times where you just go in and you're like, and like the owner is bartending and they're like, and then you try their IPA and you're just like, oh yeah, it's so good. and then they walk away, you're spitting it out.
Oh
like,
no.
I've never done that, but like I've been to one or two where I was just like, this is fucking
good.
bad. And it's it's a craft, $7-8 a pint. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah. See, I don't with all the beer I drink, I still don't have the palate enough that I can tell. For me, it's just different tastes, like Rockhouse or Hamilton or No Clue.
And I think that's fine. To me, I can't, like, if someone asks me, I can't be like, oh, well, this it has this profile, this hop. Just to me, it's like, it's a good IPA.
Yeah.
But
You know, there have been times where I've ordered a craft and just not liked it. I finish it, but just not liked it. You know.
yeah, I always try to finish it. But so here's one that's definitely not worth what you're getting for. Recently, I attended a Bill Burr comedy event. No, well, before I go
bragging.
forward, the tickets were not cheap,
Yeah.
but 100% worth it. I want to say that first.
Sure. Okay.
The tickets were worth it.
Because of the quality. Now, be honest with me. Quality of the show, or because you're a fan?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay. Well, that means that it could.
So
go.
the opener was the second opener, who I guess actually travels with him and does a lot of like is a friend of his, was awesome. I guess he's getting a Netflix special.
Was he a bigger guy?
Maybe chubbier?
Okay.
Not like big, chubby, white, had a mohawk.
Because tangent, I saw Bill Burr live as well, and the guy that opened for him, like the direct opener for him, we saw them leaving the show together, like they drove out together and all that. But he was killer. Loved him. Forgot his name, but yeah, hilarious.
White dude?
Yeah.
Might have been the same guy because I know he mentioned that they're friends.
Okay, but he kept joking. He's like, "Okay, Bill Burr, about a minute, fuckers." Like, you know,
It sounds
it's so funny.
Might be
Anyway.
him. The opener, it was a woman from Eastern Europe.
Nice.
She was okay.
Was she hot?
She was actually.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. But it's then him, and he was good, and then Bill Burr obviously killed. But what I was getting to is, I always hate going to venues like this, but the Forum. I'll trash the Forum for a second. The Forum,
Fuck the Forum, man.
Which, I mean, it's
Fuck
a
the
great
fucking
venue, but so their only beer options.
Where is the Forum?
The Forum's in L.A., Inglewood,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ew.
right by SoFi.
Yeah.
But their beer, the beer selection was so small, I still remember it. It was Estrella,
Yeah.
which is a Mexican lager that's distributed by Anheuser-Busch.
They all are.
Stella, Modelo, and then White Claw. I think White Claw came in like 2 or 3 different flavors.
Interesting. So none of the regular domestics, they have Bud or Coors or anything like that?
They might have had Bud.
Doesn't matter.
But Coors Light, definitely not. It was definitely an Anheuser-Busch venue.
Gotcha. Okay.
They owned it pretty much. Aside from the White Claw, maybe? I don't know. But so they were pretty much doing the 24-ounce tall cans
Okay.
and pouring them into cups.
Oh, okay.
And each tall can, if I recall, of Modelo, Stella, or Estrella, or Estrella, I guess it's called, was like $16.
No, yeah, no, but yeah.
So at that venue, if I was paying $16 for a tall can of like
yeah.
Sculpin or,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
some sort of IPA, I would have been like, I get it, it's a venue.
But
But
$60 for Modelo?
I was like, and I get it. Like we've maybe mentioned before, like at sports stadiums, sometimes you overcharge your liquor
Yeah.
or your alcohol so that people don't get too shit-faced.
Yeah.
You make your profit and people don't get too
I
shit-faced.
actually never realized that. I always thought like, they'd make way more money if they sold it for cheaper because they'd sell more. But then I'm like, wait, they'd probably lose money for all the drunk assholes like causing problems and
Yeah,
all that.
what's with
So-
Dodger Stadium the one time I went a couple years ago. Yeah, the beers were super expensive.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, the Dodger crowd's rough. So
rough.
you
Makes
want,
sense. It's
They're
preventative.
They're gonna buy a few beers, but they're not gonna overdrink because they don't want to spend that
Exactly.
much. So at the Forum, and it's a comedy show, so people get boozed up. They might start heckling.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But
Don't
yeah,
want that.
but still $16
That's
per
a lot.
Modelo. I was just like, fuck.
Yeah. Did you bring a flask or anything like that?
No, they were actually they were checking shit.
So, wife and I went and saw a show at she was working a show, so we went and saw it, and it was our town, and so it was kind of like we
Okay.
knew going in it was probably going to be kind of boring, so we each brought flasks. She brought a flask of this doesn't get out. This doesn't leave between you and me.
We don't know what she works.
She had a flask of rum. I had a flask of Jim Beam, and as it turned out, the show was great. So we didn't crack it at all. But we were actually, but we've done that where we go to shows like this is going to suck. Let's just.
So our town was good.
It was actually really.
We
good.
might have to talk about that next episode. Because I have questions.
Fuck you, man. I set that up so it could be like.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it
just,
next episode.
Anyway.
No, so the Bill Burr show, they actually, it was one of those places like they we had to walk through the scanner or the metal detector and
Yeah.
then put our phones in a little pouch that locks.
So the I don't know if you're leading into this, but the dude that went and bum rushed Dave Chappelle, this was before this.
Yes.
Was security hyped up because of that, or what? Did you think there was any reference to that, or what do you think?
So no, from what I understand, and listening now, I listen to Bill Burr's podcast.
It's driving me crazy.
Oh, sorry.
It's bad for the plug. That's all.
Oh yeah, okay. Mitch is fixing my shit. No, so
sorry. Go ahead.
On Bill Burr's podcast, I listened to the one that week before his show.
Nice.
I listened to it after I saw the show.
Okay.
But he talks about that, and one thing he harped on was even I guess at Chappelle's show, the security was the same.
Okay.
That people are supposed to put their phones in the pouches and lock them, and then they unlock them when they leave. And so Bill Burr was pissed that somebody had their phone and was able to record it.
Oh,
so the security was the same. And I think part of it is them trying to keep their act, like you have to pay to come see the new act.
Okay, yeah.
That's why the phones are so locked down.
Right.
Because they were pretty strict about locking down your phones.
Yeah.
He did make a few jokes when I went and saw him about someone rushing them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But he was like, no, it's like the only people getting rushed are black guys in LA, and I'm a white guy, so I'm fine. It was kind of funny.
Oh, he's golden. Oh.
But no, so I don't think security was hyped up for that.
Okay.
I think it was just more so they are more strict on the content getting out.
Sure. An example where that isn't the case, where you buy concessions and it's not the case, is minor league baseball. We go to Quake's. Quake Stadium, and they're Thirsty Thursday. That
dollar
promo.
beer night.
They don't have dollar anymore. It's fucked up. But no, they have $4 drafts, and it's
that's
like,
not bad
for baseball beer.
Yeah.
It's gold, man. It's great.
No, that's not bad at all. But no, I think most. Not the minor leagues, but most professional sports way overcharge. Obviously, the movies way overcharge.
It's interesting now you brought that up. Like, well, they don't want people over drinking. Now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I don't want people over drinking around me too. So
well, think about it this way. Let's say you're going to spend $30 on beers.
Yeah. So that's a beer and a half.
That's right. But like making up prices. So let's say it's $5 a beer.
Yeah.
So as a business, if they're gonna get 6 beers, that math's right. Yeah. $30, 6 beers at $5 a pop.
Sure.
And you're 6 beers in, so you might be pretty toasty. Or we could charge you $10 a beer. Make the same amount of money, but you'll have had 3 beers and you're not acting up.
Yeah. Everyone's happy you got beer.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So
I don't know if you've ever been to Vegas, but I remember one time going with my friends, and we were all just turned 21. And we had girls in our group. It was great. So we got invited to like a club, and so we, because of those guys that hand out, there's like, yeah, it's a rooftop club, whatever. We're like, yes, we got girls. Fuck yeah, we about that ratio. And we got the bottle service.
Mm-hmm.
And just don't look at the price. We're all like looking at us like, well, fucking, what are we ever going to do it again? Long story short, we never did it again because holy crap.
It's fun to do it once.
We did it once, and we did the thing at a club in Vegas with the bottle service. But I remember at one point even, we were done with our bottle, and my friend we were like not quite done yet, so we wanted to get a round of beers. So my friend ordered a round of Coronas actually, and it worked out to something like, at the time, this was back in it doesn't matter, and it was like $10 or something a beer for
$9
for a bottle of Corona.
So you're a year, 2 years younger than me?
89.
Okay, 2 years.
Okay.
When I was in college in Vegas, I've lived in Vegas for a couple years. I'm not sure.
Shit. Okay.
I went to a club, and I still remember it was a $9 Corona.
Okay.
And I was like, the fuck?
It was something like $8.50 or something like stupid. Because there was like 7 of us in our group or something like that. And so he got the bill for his round of Coronas. And he was like, wait, what? He's like, look at, and it's like loud and rolling. And he's like looking at this receipt like, oh, I guess so. Huh. Like, well, we just spent $300 on a bottle of vodka.
And we've talked about it before too. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't leave the club and come back in.
And we had that moment where we were like, yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, And then the dickhead friend that ordered that, it's my friend Josh. He's a fucking dickhead because we went to bed that next morning. He went and got coffee. No, he did get coffee. He was just out walking around. I went and got coffee, and I brought back, because I was like, hey, everybody hung over. I got coffee for all of us. He comes walking into the hotel room and was like, what's up? And he's like, I just walked through the slots, and I put $1 in a random machine and won $500.
Oh, good for him. He should have bought the coffee.
He was like, hey, I just made up for everything we spent last night, so that's fun.
And we're going to tangent a little bit away from the whole get what you pay for subject.
By the way, if you ever go to Vegas, that happens all the time. Like if you go out crazy in Vegas, you'll get your money back. Just hit the tables, hit the slots.
Yeah, just throw all your money down.
You'll get your money back. It's a misconception, but you will get your money back.
I'm going to say, if you're going to go into bottle service,
Yes.
which I think is fine.
Okay.
It's fun time. I've done it a couple times with friends. We all chipped in.
Influencers in the wild.
I'm going to say this. Know who's going in on the bottle, and whoever goes in on the bottle is only allowed to pour the bottle.
Ooh, okay.
Because that shit, it's still a joke today. I got fucking furious.
Publicly mad? You're not a publicly mad person.
No, like I wasn't like visually mad.
Okay.
But in my head, I was like, this motherfucker.
I was gonna say you're a private mad guy.
Yeah.
You're like me.
I come home, I take it out on the girl.
Yeah. Where's the dog?
Sorry, I almost went to a dark place. But no, I went for, I gotta say his name's Tim, one of my best friends, and we went to Vegas. This is after I had already graduated. I was back in California. We went up for the weekend for his birthday, and we went to I forgot what club we went to actually. Not that it's important, but we went and we got a booth. We got a booth and we got some bottle service. I think we got 2 bottles to start with. And the deal was like, I think someone was putting it on his card and then we were all going to give him the money later. Like, here's what you owe me.
Cool.
So it's like, cool. And there's like 3 or 4 of us that had the agreement. Cool, we're going to do it. And then it was like his girlfriend's friend's boyfriend. Because the girlfriend brought her friend to the birthday.
Her boyfriend.
And then so the boyfriend came and we had like Kettle One. I forgot, we had like a rum. And this dude was pouring.
Oh, no.
Strong.
Oh, no. Oh.
And so he was like, yeah, bottle service, and was pouring it. But like, even if you get bottle service, you can still do it on a budget. Like, because they'll bring you unlimited mixers.
Right, yeah.
So pour your shit weak.
Yeah.
So that it'll last longer. It'll last longer.
Yeah.
And this dude was just pouring so fucking heavy. I think even my lady was like,
hey, dude.
It doesn't even taste good.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Because he was just pouring so heavy and like, here's some drinks. And so at one point I was like, hey man, go easy on this shit. Like, I was polite. I was like, hey man, like, go easy on this shit. Like, we want it to last. And he's like, I got you, bro. And then just kept doing it. And I was like, this motherfucker. And so we ended up getting another bottle just because I'm not sure if you know, if you go so long without like a bottle or buying something at the booth, they'll say like you have to give the booth up.
Okay, yeah.
So we got another bottle. Like, not even him, the core group, we agreed, okay, let's get another bottle in the bill. And he just kept doing it. And I remember at one point I was like, yo, and I did get kind of assertive. I was like, yo.
Stop.
I was like, hey, do you want to go in on this?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, we're paying for this. Do you want to go in on it? And he's like, oh, no, I thought it was just for the table. I was like, it is. And you're welcome to it. But go easy, man. And he was like, I got you, man. And he just did not go easy. And because, like, if it was one of my buddies, I'd be like, look, motherfucker. But...
yeah.
But because it was like a friend of a friend of a friend, I was like, I don't want to make a scene. I'm not going to say anything.
I don't know this guy. Yeah. He's going to pull something.
But it was so fucking irritating.
That's rough. But yeah, if you've never done bottles, it's fun to do at least once.
Cool. And
you got the bouncer to hold the line for you, and he lets you in or out. It's like, oh, whatever. And you feel like a VIP for a minute.
And the hot chick will be like, oh, like, you want? And she'll make the drink for you. Right, it's cool. Right.
I remember that time we did bottle service. I was fucked up, and I was trying to convince the server. She was this waitress, and I was in my drunken haze trying to convince this waitress that she was better than all this and she needed to leave and like get a better job and whatever, not knowing what kind of money she was pulling in. But like, I was like 21 at the time, so I didn't know. And I was like, no, you're better than this. You're pretty. Look at you. Oh man, it was so funny. Looking back, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking?
So I didn't spend a dime. I was leeching, but I'm not gonna say how I knew the guy, but a guy I knew, his girlfriend's brother owned like a traveling Russian show.
Right.
That had like I don't fucking ask. And so this is like the first or second semester. So this is like I think the first semester I lived in Vegas, or the second, I forgot, either way.
In where?
In Vegas. And so so he invited me because they were coming up, and I guess the show, it was like on Russian New Year. And so they were having a big party at a club, and he's like, hey, you live in Vegas, like, come out with us. I was like, all right, cool. And so like we had this VIP table, like right next to the dance floor, DJ.
Nice.
When we got there were booze and mixers all over the table. And I was like, this is dope. And then not even that, like, so the server, you could just ask for like, hey, I'm not really a liquor drinker. I drink beer. She's like, what are you drinking? Like, here's our selection. What do you want? And I forgot let's say Corona. I was like, Corona.
Sure.
And she came back with like a bucket of ice with like 5 Coronas. And I was
come
like,
on.
dope. And I was like, and
Come
this is on
This is on him, right?
the tab,
Yeah,
right?
this is,
Because it's like the owner of this traveling show.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, the table's on him. I was like, dope.
dope.
And,
you got any like cocaine or what do you?
well, so what was funny was similarly but different. I really didn't know anyone in Vegas at the time, and so I started talking to the server. I was like, I actually live here, and I was chatting with her. And in retrospect, it's fucking retarded. She ended up giving me her email address.
Ooh, okay.
Not her number, because I kind of was like, hey, I don't know anyone. Like, I'm actually a local. I'd love to like just have a friend.
Yeah.
And so she ended up giving me her email address. At the time, I was like, got it. And then like the next day, I was like, she gave me her email address.
It's like the bronze medal, you know.
It's not even the bronze, because like, at least a phone number like you can ignore. Like, it's harder to ignore a phone call. An email, you don't even have to fucking acknowledge.
Oh dear.
But then what was not funny to them, but for me it was funny. I went to the restroom and I came back out, and the guy who I know, who his girlfriend was the sister of the guy who won the show, he was drunk and bumped the table and literally knocked out all the booze.
Oh no.
To where like the booth like was covered in liquid. And if you know the markup on bottles, that was probably like at least $3,000 to $4,000 worth of booze gone.
God.
And in retrospect, I actually really didn't like this guy.
Well, like right there, right.
No, even before that, I didn't. And that's a whole other story.
I really wasn't gonna say it. I'm trying to do better.
It's another story altogether. But I really wasn't fond of him anyway. I just went for the party.
Sure.
And some of the guys that went with him I liked. So when I saw that and just the look of disgust on the guy's face who actually owned the show, he was just like, you're dating my sister?
I can't believe it.
I was like,
all right, we're on the same page here. Woof. What did I write here? Examples of example of where you get what you pay for kind of thing. In going for the route of getting someone you know to do it. When we got married, we had to hire a photographer. Mm-hmm. Long story short, the venue has their in-house photographer. Not only was he not getting back to us, but his profile, not profile. What's his collection of
portfolio?
Okay. Wasn't super impressive. We were like, oh, okay. My wife's friend, who she went to school with in high school or whatever, was a photographer. We look at her Instagram page, love her work, and we call her and we're like, what's it going to take? And she's like, well, she lives out of state, so we'd have to pay for her to fly in, put her up, and then pay for the work. And she's like, because you're friends and family, I give you a 20% discount. So even with all that, it was like not much more expensive. Like we're talking $100 difference between the in-house photographer and our friend as a photographer.
Like, might as well.
And it's like, okay, then we're going with it. No question. We're going with it. Turns out she was stellar, amazing. Like, oh my gosh, we were recommending her to everyone, and she was just a phenomenal photographer. And we got to hire a friend. She did a great job, so it was great. So there are the rare cases where,
sure,
but for the most part, don't hire your friends and family.
I think if it's depending on the job, the friend and family thing, if they give you a discount, can work.
Yeah.
I've done, granted, when I do private bartending gigs, I don't charge as much as other private bartenders do.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I don't. I think part of it is because I'm not like a hot chick.
Oh yeah.
So I charge a little less.
That's
But every time I've done it, like people have been happy.
Do you wear the suspenders and the button-up shirt and the little tie and shit?
Generally, no.
You go for the whole vibe?
My go-to attire is black pants. I have black jeans that look like slacks, so I'll wear those.
They're comfier.
They're comfier, and like if you spill something on them, it's not like slacks.
They're hardier.
Yeah, and so I usually wear those, and then like a black button-up long sleeve that I can roll the sleeves up, unless they specifically ask.
I didn't know you do that. You do like parties, or did
not
parties?
often.
Okay.
I don't advertise myself.
Right.
The few times I've done it, I think I've done 4 or 5 weddings now.
Wow, okay.
It's not, I'd never advertise myself. It's just somebody knows somebody getting married. They're like, hey, would you want to do this?
This is going to sound weird, but do you enjoy bartending if it's like on the small scale like that? Because I know you mentioned you don't bartend at your bar
Not anymore.
And you've mentioned the anxiety that you get working Fridays and Saturdays at a bar. But if it were something like that, like a private party,
Yeah.
or on a smaller scale, let's say it's a small town and you're the town bar. Do you enjoy the craft? Or
So here's what I'll say. To correct you, I didn't mind the bartending. Granted, there comes anxiety with bartending at a busy spot anyway, just because of the
it's busy,
the traffic.
anxiety, whatever.
It was more so that the anxiety came from that it was busy and I was bartending and I had to do management shit.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because hypothetically, if I'm by myself and I'm
For sure.
bartending and something happens, I have to step away from the bar.
You got to handle it.
And no one else is there, so now everything comes to a stop.
Yeah.
That's where the anxiety came from.
That's interesting.
As far as the actual bartending, I didn't mind it. It's definitely a different vibe when you bartend like a wedding,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because with weddings, the exceptions aside, everyone is much more forgiving and just wants to have a good time.
Right.
So like you might fuck up a drink or you might say the wrong thing, but it's a wedding. Everyone's just trying to have a good time.
The bar is like that happy bonus of this great celebration.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Whereas if you go to a bar like a dive bar or just any bar to get drunk on a regular night, not that you're not trying to have a good time, but you're more prone to being rude.
Well, the bar is what you're going for. You go to a wedding and the bar happens to be there.
It's a plus,
If you go
yeah.
to a bar, the bar better be top notch. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah. I hear it's funny. I've never been able to put it into words, but I was asked about my job and like, do you like what you do? And it was that same kind of thing. I like the fact that I work on my own and I get to drive to all over the place and work. And I like my job because it's a mix of, monotony and like problem solving. So it's a little bit of everything. What I don't like, the anxiety that comes from it, is when something goes wrong. And as an owner, you have to step away from that and try to figure out how to get stuff managed. If I had a job where I was just doing that and just getting paid to do that, that'd be sweet.
Well, that's what it's wearing more than one hat is
Yeah.
the anxiety.
Well, you hear the stories of like owners who sold their business and stepped back as just techs or just bartenders or whatever, they sold their business. Now they're working for the business that they used to own, but they don't have the anxiety.
At one point, we almost did that to where a guy was interested in buying it for a decent price. And part of the deal, granted it didn't go through obviously, but part of the deal would be that I would stay on as the lead bartender.
Oh, okay.
And that our cook, who's still our head cook, would stay on as the head cook.
Sweet. Yeah.
For at least an amount of time.
Sure. Probationary.
Well, no, and then if they don't like me, whatever.
Yeah.
But just as a transition, that way it's a smooth transition. It's not just cut and dry like new staff or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's I have always enjoyed bartending weddings though, because you do get to talk to people more, and it is.
You have been one that's always like quick with a joke or a light of your.
Oh yeah.
Something. But
light of my what? Light of my life.
It's a piano man.
Nah.
The bartender's quick with a joke and a light of your smoke.
Oh, there you go.
That's you, man.
I've killed at weddings. Every wedding that I've bartended, I've killed.
Yeah.
I've crushed.
Would you step behind the bar at your wedding?
If I have to.
As that thing, just as a gimmick. But.
If I can actually see that like as a gimmick. If they're like, we want the groom to make shots, I'd be like, oh yeah,
mixed shots,
yeah.
or just pour tequila and just drink up bitches.
No, I've actually crushed weddings.
Yeah, I believe that.
The weddings I've done, I've crushed.
Do you have a favorite cocktail you make?
No.
You have a signature cocktail, one that you're best at?
No. When I was bartending at the bar, I would do a thing to where, and it's mainly women who are like, I don't know what I want. And then I would say, what's your favorite color?
Oh, not nice.
And then I would make a drink that's that color.
Oh, nice.
And I'd ask a few questions like, do you not like tequila? Like, what's your restrictions?
Sure.
And then I would just make a drink.
That's a good bartender.
That was fun.
I had, when we celebrated our 1-year anniversary, we went up to Big Bear and we would like go to various shops around there. And I went to one, we went to one restaurant. It was a bar and grill. We ended up not staying, but because my lady wasn't feeling too well. But we went in, we sat at a table at the bar because we knew we were just going to get some drinks and go. And she went off to the restroom, and I'm sitting and I'm looking at they have their brew list and all that. And the server comes over, and this guy looks like a local, No offense, but he looks like a local Big Bear. And
Looks like a local, no offense.
no offense. It's, you know, you look like a tourist. Much offense. But
Much offense.
look like a local. And I said, you know, they have one of your in-house brews, double IPA. I was like, you know, I was thinking about trying it. What do you think? He's like, no. It's like, what? He's like, no, it tastes like shit. I'm like, okay. Is there another in-house brew that you like? He's like, no, they're all terrible. My favorite is this one. It's one of the locals. It's not ours, but it's one of the guest beer, and it's pretty good. Get that? That's my favorite. And he immediately became my favorite person in that whole place.
So, two things. One, so was it like a brew pub?
I guess so, yeah.
Could you see brewing tanks?
Yes.
You could see brewing tanks?
Yes.
Huh. What I was going to say is...
I don't know if they were being used. I will say that.
There's a chance they're not being used because a lot of places, like an uncomfortable amount of places, will say like, yeah, we brew our in-house shit. And they get it from other places.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm willing to bet that place did that.
Interesting.
Because then... Unless he's just one of those guys who's just completely honest.
Come to find out, he's just a guy that just doesn't like IPAs. And so like any IPA he just doesn't like. And he actually recommended a Stone. Like it was a Stone Belgian white. It was like was not one of Stone's IPAs, but it was like a Belgian or summer. I think that was it. Yeah.
Dayfall.
Yeah. And it was bomb. I loved it.
It's good.
So it was good stuff.
No, so I was gonna say either one, they imported their house beer, which happens. It happens. Or two, he was just one of those honest guys.
I love, you know what? Anytime a bartender says, I don't like that, you're not gonna like that, try this.
You know what? It's actually so the bar we talked about earlier, their lead bartender, she's actually thinking about starting a podcast, and me and her have chatted about shit anyway.
Collab.
Yeah,
we'll get her on.
But one thing that I've talked to her about, and I've talked to other people who are in the industry about, is that a quick way to get one, integrity with your table, and two, possibly better tip, even if it's not true. Trash one thing on your menu.
Oh shit! Interesting.
Just trash something on the menu.
Yeah.
So like, what's good? You know what? I really like our wings. Don't get the boneless.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm just something.
Just an example.
Something.
Yeah.
Because then that way the table or the customer is like,
oh, you know,
they're honest.
They're honest with
they're not full of shit.
Motherfuck! You just lifted the veil now, man.
It's a little
sales
trick.
tactic.
Granted, it might be honest.
No, I think this was honest because later I went back and when I was paying my bills, like, yeah, we didn't get anything to eat. You know, he's like, it's good because it'll give you diarrhea. And then,
well,
I was like, okay.
Sure.
Well.
But no, it's I've done it before to where someone's like, well, what's good on here? I'm like, everything's pretty good. What about this? I would avoid that. Yeah. Just even though it's like in actuality good.
Yeah.
It then in their head they're like, oh, he's being honest. He really cares. He's honest with me.
That's funny. I like when I was still in my early 20s, still new to the bar scene, but when I was up in, I went to this dive in Bishop, and it wasn't a dive, it was a good bar, and I didn't know much about beer in general, but I knew what I liked, and for the most part, and I'm like, I'll try some new stuff. What's up there? Let me see. Rolling Rock. I've never had Rolling Rock. That sounds good. And the bartender came over, and I was like, you know, is Rolling Rock any good? And he's like, no.
Fair. That's completely fair.
If you haven't had it, it's like the Natty Light. It
used to be good. It used
is it
to be
really?
good.
Okay, well, Rolling Rock is like bottom
trash
beer. So, and it's pretty well known to be trash beer. I was just naive at the time.
It used to, like in the 90s or 80s, it used to be good.
Oh,
but then it's trash.
I wasn't alive then.
Same.
I wasn't drinking.
No, what was it? What was I about to say? There's
Is it exactly the same and just every other beer has gotten better?
No. So in a previous episode, I talked about how I hate Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
And part of the reason they learned the lesson, they don't really do it anymore, is that they had a reputation of buying breweries.
Yeah.
And then cheapening the ingredients.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's what, to my knowledge, happened at Rolling Rock. Is that it used to be a fire brewery.
Yeah.
And then Anheuser-Busch bought it and cheapened it, and it
Boddington's was like that. I really liked Boddington's, and then it was bought out. But anyway.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was about to fucking say something. Forgot.
Honest bartenders don't get the wings.
Yeah, I forgot. Someone trashed something. I went somewhere and the guy was honest and just trashed it.
That'd be fun. We could have the bartender. We'll have like.
Oh, it was. I remember. No, it was a. It was actually a sales rep for a brewery.
Okay.
I'm not going to say the brewery name
because you're still selling it.
Sort of. It was a big. I'll say it. It was Lagunitas.
Oh, okay, yeah. Love it. Lagunitas.
And the sales rep came out and we were chatting, and I forgot the name of the beer, and I just asked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, no."
Oh shit!
And I was
the sales rep said no.
Yeah, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna be honest with you. Tastes like shit." And I was like, all right. And he's like, we made a lot of it, kind of went balls in on it, and it just didn't come out well. And he's like, so he said, he's like, I'm not going to sell it to you. Yeah. Let it sit here, and no one buys it. And then we have to like, he's like, I'm not, as a sales rep, I can't, it's not going to make me money because you're going to end up returning it.
Wow.
He's like, so I'm not selling it to you.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you ever have that Budweiser? I mean, you did because Anheuser-Busch. Never mind.
We might have. What?
That Budweiser was like that bourbon barrel strain they had a few years ago. Do you remember that?
I do. No.
I kind of liked it. It's pretty good. Anyway, I'll drink anything though, so I'm not the best gauge for.
When they did like the they had something a while back when the craft movement blew up. They did something that was like the American lager or something, or the American ale. I forgot what it was. I think we tried like a case of the bottles just to see, and it was trash.
Yeah, okay.
Just a trash company.
You don't get what you pay for. Example, video games. It's pretty standard now that every video game that comes out is about the same price. They went from $60 to $80
Is it 80
for.
now? I haven't bought a game in a while, but
maybe, I don't know. But I was looking up. It might be that thing where it's like, it's $60 base, but if you want the add-on, whatever,
the premium
it's another whatever. Far Cry 6 came out, and it was something stupid like $70 for the game, and it's become the standard that all video games now are like kind of costing pretty much the same, and they're not all that good.
I was gonna say I think it depends on the game.
I'm not big into the Call of Duty or the shooter online shooter games, so I'm not super well versed. But from what I've gathered, like Battlefield or Counter Strike, whatever, not big into it. But from what I've heard from the community is that they've been furious at the latest games coming out because they're these expensive games that get released and they're buggy or bad
or just rehashed.
That's
why I gave up. Huge tangent, but I gave up on Call of Duty specifically like 10 years ago because every new game that came out was just the old games rehashed with better graphics. There's nothing, and so I stopped playing that game. But
like or the Madden games, they come out those
Matt.
That's a different thing.
Madden's been overpriced since I was 18.
Yeah, and I guess you do pay for that year's release, so it's kind of like
what Madden should do is make a subscription service.
That's what video games are just going to turn into.
Well, Madden, any sports game that comes out once a year. I remember I thought of this when I was like 22. Like it should be a subscription.
You just
to where you sign up for like a yearly or even a month, whatever you want to do, a fucking constant charge where it's cheaper. And that way it's like the same game and you just update the roster.
Oh, interesting.
Because I remember, like, if you go from
maybe not because like you want to go back and play that year's roster. This was
and
the
you can
year,
still do it. You can still do that.
Maybe rollback
updates. But that's where I never understood sport. So I'm a basketball person. I've bought 2 basketball games in the last decade, and they were like 5 years apart.
Okay.
But I can't, and that's sort of sports, like the sports fandom. I don't get. I cannot fathom buying a new NBA 2K every fucking year. It's just why?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but the shooters they get
going back to the
super
shooters,
expensive, and video games in general, I guess. It's there's some rare exceptions like the Elder Scrolls games that have been killer. The Grand Theft Auto series.
I was gonna say if Rockstar comes out with either Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead, well worth $60. That shit's gonna be hours of fun.
Yeah, and that's where believe it or not, I was disappointed with GTA 5 because once you beat the main game, if you're not playing online, there's not much to do with just the map. Compared to like GTA San Andreas, all the mini side games you could play, the properties you could buy.
There's a lot to do in there.
GTA 5?
Yeah.
I mean, you could switch through characters and they all
But there's properties to buy. There's side games. There's the busy work rate that just finds shit.
Yeah. Collectibles.
But there's a lot of shit to do on that.
Maybe not. Maybe I should give it another try. But I remember being like a little disappointed.
It's harder to find. I'll give you that. But
I just got the vibe that it was more where they should have invested time in the single player. They put it all into the online, which makes sense.
But I will say they're online. How old is that game now? It has to be at least 10 years old.
It's now like the GTA 5 has been like the longest running than all the other prequels or something like that.
But they're still coming out with like new online shit for free. Like you don't have to pay for it. So I mean, that's a game that's worth that $60
for sure.
But even Red Dead Redemption 2, I've never even played online, and that game was well worth the money I spent for it.
I play it online, and it's amazing. All the content you can do online. It's like it's a continuation of the game. You can live online. It's pretty amazing. So yeah. So some games, yeah, definitely worth the money.
Yeah, some
you do get what you pay for.
Even like, have you ever played PUBG?
Yes.
So
like at other friends' houses.
Sure. So I know some. I think mobile PUBG is free because there's ads, but I think I spent maybe $15 like 5-6 years ago for PUBG.
Yeah.
And I still play it.
Oh yeah.
So
well,
I mean,
I'm like that with Minecraft. I bought it when I was living in Bishop for $30 or whatever it was, and it updates every few years.
Same
like,
with PUBG. Yeah.
Yeah, big updates, and it's never had to pay for it. And it's just been amazing. So
Yeah. I don't get the economics behind it because like PUBG specifically is bought 5 years ago for like $15, and they make like new updates all the time free of charge.
Wow.
In the back of my head, I'm like, who's paying?
Well, I know Minecraft, the more popular they get, they sell more Lego sets and books and shows or whatever, and more people buy it.
And you're right, because in PUBG, there are those people who will spend $10 on a coat.
Well, the biggest thing I think in Minecraft was their online servers. Now they can rent out servers online, so you can have an online profile, and your friends could all play on the same server and all that. So that makes sense. But anyway,
So there's microtransactions.
Yeah. Pay to play? No, it's very different. But yeah, another example: good deals. You get what you pay for. Trader Joe's. If you
Sure.
they're $9.99 for a liter of scotch. It's good shit. But
Good scotch.
I didn't say that.
Semantics here.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
I think the general consensus is, you get what you pay for.
For a lot of things like products, cars, you do get what you pay for. Tools, you definitely get what you pay for.
Tools, yes.
Yeah. Generators, you get what you pay for.
I believe it. Well, even, and we're going a little long. We could end pretty soon, but even at the bar, we he won't hear this. We have projects that need to be done, random projects, fix the fence in the back, do this and that. And there's like levels of like, okay, we have a guy who's like a general handyman, and he's not that expensive. So on a small project, yeah, we'll get him. He has to fix the fence, whatever, paint something.
Yeah.
But something like we have to remodel.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Someone else. He might do basic electric work. Like, okay, he can re-hook up this outlet.
Replace a switch or whatever, yeah.
Exactly. But if we need to like run conduit across the yard or across the building,
contractor,
we have a guy.
Yeah.
Because he's more expensive, but in this case, we need more expensive.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure the guy that you're talking about would have no problem with that too. He's like, hey, we're going to leave the big.
He has to know. He has to know. He did some work on my house.
Yeah.
Nothing big, just handyman stuff. And because there were parts that were needed that I didn't have, he had to like go to Home Depot, and pretty much he had to cancel a job that was he was doing a morning job for us. He had to cancel a job in the afternoon.
Gotcha.
And so he called me and he's like, hey, unfortunately, we do have to charge you more. And I was like, okay. And then he gave me the price, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Oh, it was like, wasn't that much?
No, not at all.
Oh, shit.
It was still cheap.
Nice.
So I was like, perfect.
Cool.
Fine.
Yeah. You sure you can charge more if you want?
Did you say that wrong? Yeah. No, but that's, and he has to know.
Yeah. Sweet.
But
da 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 da. That was the closing music.
All right. Well, on that note,
We're being played out.
The hook's coming in to pull us out.
Playing out.
Thank you for joining us if you're still here.
Yeah.
And tune in next week for another very interesting, very amazing.
Like one of those.
I went Gordon Ramsay right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Do you ever watch his shows?
Oh, yeah.
And it's always like,
I'm going
to prepare for you an amazing codfish.
It's going to be, he's very explosive.
I've always said that if my lady loves me like Gordon Ramsay loves himself,
you're good.
You're good to go. I'm going to cook you an amazing, a beautiful starfish. I don't know.
I need starfish.
We're going to perform. I'm going to cook this beautiful, elegant steak for you tonight.
Oof.
Like, that's really cocky, motherfucker. Anyway, he deserves it.
He deserves it. You get what you pay for.
We'll go out on that. Another Gordon Ramsay to be mentioned in a future episode.
Have a good Sunday.
Yes, have a great Sunday. Or whatever day you decide to listen.
Yeah, or Monday morning driving to LA, which is what I do.
So you're going to be on the road for a few hours.
Yeah. Sweet. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.